me talk about the most dynamic, the most well-known disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, the one who has stolen the heart of so many thousands and thousands of people worldwide. At the end of last century, when one of these major newspapers in India did a survey in India regarding who is the spiritual light of the last century, the Indian public in India voted this personality to be the outstanding winner, top of the league. We may have thought it will be perhaps Gandhi, or there are so many other personalities in the last century, marvelous personalities, all of them. And yet, this person comes way out, way ahead of everybody. So the Indians in India, the Hindus in India are fully aware of the potency of this personality, became world famous as Swami Vivekananda. Let me tell you the story and how it begins, and give you a bit of magic and mystery as well. This Ramakrishna one day went into deepest of meditation. These are his words. He said, my meditation, my mind went into a state where the form and the formless meet, where the akar, sakar meets the nirakar. And there was a kind of a boundary there, where the formless becomes formless. The form, the one with form becomes formless. There's a boundary. Just on the boundary, he said, look at his language. I saw seven ancient sages of India sitting in deep meditation. And my mind in this state of meditation was wondering what marvelous personalities these are. They sit on the boundary of the sapeksh and the nirpeksh, or the relative and the absolute, the nirakar and the sakar, the form and the formless. Because if they merge in the formless, they can no longer interact with the rest of the world. So they deliberately sit on the fence between the formless and the form, or between the relative and the absolute, sapeksh and nirpeksh. They sit on the boundary, and they are sitting in glorious, in their majesty, in deepest of meditation. And my mind was wondering, what marvelous personalities. For the sake of mankind, they don't want to merge in the absolute. They want to continue to link up with the relative, so they can interact with humanity. What marvelous personalities. And my mind was wondering. And while it was wondering, suddenly I saw that part, of that space. Look, this space, you may think, what is on about? The space in which we see this world is just this kind of physical space. There are many other spaces. For example, when we go into dream state, we live in a different space. When we are in deep meditation, we live in a different space as well. This is spiritual space, very real. It is not make-believe. It's not just imaginary. It's very real. This is the space which comes alive. And he said, I saw that part of the space take on the form of a little baby. He's describing, he's examining. He goes to the boundary of the sapeksh and nirpeksh, relative and absolute. And there, he says, a part of the space there took on a form of a little baby. And the baby went to one of the sages sitting in deep meditation, very glorious, and started to try and awaken him, try to touch him, wake him up. And after some effort, the sage opened his eyes. And you could see, this is Ramakrishna describing this experience. And he could see that the sage loved this child most dearly. He was the apple of his eye. You could see that. And the child pointed, saying this way. And the sage, with his eyes, showed his acceptance. He said the child was saying, come with me to earth. And the sage was saying, I'll come. And he said, when I saw this Narendra for the first time, I knew immediately this is the sage that I saw in meditation, who said he'll come down. And after a lot of prodding by his disciples in later life, he admitted the child was himself. After pushing, he wouldn't straight away agree to stuff like that, Even taking his picture was a big nuisance, it's difficult to take his picture. So he admitted finally. Now, you see, let me tell you the story of this child, if you like, this marvelous personality. Look, when you see an image of Swami Vivekananda, who does he remind you of? Think about it. Who does he remind you? The image of Swami Vivekananda in full majesty with closed eyes in deep meditation. See, his eyes are not strained. They are not screwed up. They are perfectly kind of relaxed. The whole system is in complete control and yet vibrates with spirituality. Who does he remind us of? To me, he reminds me of Shiva. You see, he is, if you like, sometimes somebody said, Dilip, I talk about Shivaratri and Shiva. I say, forget about Shivaratri. I'll talk about the Shiva who fell down to earth. The peace of Shiva will come down to earth. That is this Vivekananda. The majesty, his love of meditation, his kind of magnanimous nature. You know, Shiva is considered magnanimous. Ashutosh, he gives everything away. And this Vivekananda was like, he gave everything away, anything and everything. Anybody came here, he dished it out. He wouldn't hesitate to give away anything. That huge heart, that compassionate heart, is the heart of Shiva. This is the story of this thing, this piece of Shiva coming down to earth. He's born in Calcutta, in a middle class family. Called, see, I told you the names give away the title. He's named Narendra. The word Narendra means king of man. If you like, the king of humanity, a champion of mankind, and that is precisely what he was, a champion of mankind. Throughout his life, you see, he's not in love with God, he's in love with mankind. He wants to lift mankind up, not God. Who has time for God? He sees his God in man and women. He is the champion of mankind. The name suited him perfectly. This boy had an unusual habit. Whenever he went to sleep at night, this is a standard story. When he closed his eyes, young boy, he would see a ball of light changing colors. Then the ball of light will get bigger and bigger and become gloriously white and cover his whole being. It become bigger and bigger and seem to kind of, he becomes kind of encapsulated in that. It will kind of cover him up and then he'll fall asleep. Now he thought this is how everybody goes to sleep. Otherwise you can't fall asleep until you see this ball of light. So in his class he asked other boys, you know, this ball of light? They said, what ball of light? At night it's pitch dark. What balls of light? He said, I don't know, strange. After he met Ramakrishna, my boy, do you see the light at night? He said, yes. He said, I knew it. You are. Actually, the boy was not going to sleep. He was going to deep meditation every night. He was a Dhyana Siddha Rishi. And rather than sit, in posture saying, okay, 6 a.m. in the morning, sunrise, sit on meditation. When he fell asleep, he was going to deepest of meditation every night without any practice, without any initiation. He was Dhyana Siddha. He could enter into meditation without knowing what's it. Seeing balls of light, boom, goes into it.